Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Okay, I'm going to do it one more time because I love the Morgan welcomes, and it's Friday. Thank you all for being here. So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, so my name is Yasmin Bryant. This summer, I've had the opportunity to be placed in the Victim Services Unit of the Baltimore Police Department. The title of my project is the Victim Services Unit and Procedural Justice. All right, here's my table of contents. It goes through everything that will be discussed in this presentation. And again, my name is Yasmin Bryant. I am a junior political science major at Morgan State University, and I'm from the great, crazy state of Florida.
All right.
Now, before we jump in, I would like for you to take a moment and think about a time in your life where you needed help navigating the aftermath of a traumatic event. That person who may have helped you may have been a family member, a friend, someone you're in an organization with, or someone at your job. But for the civilians of Baltimore, this is the Victim Services Unit. Oops, excuse me. The Victim Services Unit is a team of dedicated victim services coordinators and the Victim Services Manager who work to provide resources, assistance, and help to civilians affected by homicide and non-fatal shootings in Baltimore City. This Victim Services Unit is under the Operations Bureau led by Deputy Commissioner Cherie Briscoe and is managed by Mr. James Dixon. Now, the purpose of this project is to highlight area of growth needed in the Victim Services Unit and also in partnering units and departments that work with victims of homicide and also those of non-fatal shootings. Now, what motivated me to choose this area for my project was a meeting that I was able to be included in the Victim Services Unit. In this meeting, the Victim Services Manager, Mr. Dixon, the mother of a homicide victim, and her primary detective all sat together and discussed where her investigation was falling short, what she was missing from her detective. Now this mother, the mother of her only child, hadn't heard from her detective in over 5 months. That means for over 5 months, she had no calls, no return calls, no answered text messages, and no return emails. The mother of her only son had no updates on the case of her baby boy. This is a problem, and so this is what I decided to focus on for the Victim Services Unit and partnering units with Victim Services. So according to the National Public Safety Partnership's Victim Services Capacity Assessment Report, a major issue that still exists in the Baltimore Police Department and in other institutions like it is are the concerns of procedural justice as it pertains to victims in the city. Now, this includes a desensitized sense of humanity, apathetic treatment to seemingly undeserving victims, such as Black males and Black youth, and also a lack of training on trauma-informed responses at crime scenes and death notifications. The best practices relating to procedural justice are actually that found right under Baltimore Police Department. The Baltimore Police Department Sex Offense Unit has a survey they instituted called the Baltimore Police Department Sexual Assault Victim Survey, which gauges the full experience of survivors of sexual assault and domestic violence, while also providing a focus on how the unit can improve and best serve the victims of these experiences. Now, the theory that best relates to this topic is that of procedural justice. This theory is by political philosopher John Rawls, and it essentially states that if the 4 principles of procedural justice are met, neutrality, which means unbiased motives and decisions, trustworthiness, providing victims with a voice, and treating victims with respect, if all of those 4 things are met, then victims are most likely to participate in the processes of their investigations and also accept the outcome of their particular case, even if it is not the desired outcome. One key solution that I found to answer this problem is to institute a survey for victims of non-fatal shootings and for that of homicide, which is who the Victim Services Unit serves at this time, to evaluate the quality of their interactions with the Baltimore Police Department and the personnel affiliated, and be able to provide their feedback on how to improve the unit and the procedures and protocols involved in their investigations. Now, this will be instituted for the Victim Services Unit at the 9-month follow-up stage of the standard operating procedures. Now, this survey would amplify the voices of surviving victims, allow them to provide a first-hand look inside of where additional training and protocol reform are needed, and it would answer 13 of the 21 recommendations of the National Public Safety Partnership's Victim Services Capacity Assessment Report. The impact in the community would be astounding. A common feeling in the Baltimore Police Department, in the Baltimore community, is that police neither care for the needs of the community, nor do they have any real interest in reform that answers the needs of the community. But this survey would combat both of those feelings and thoughts. It would combat the perception of ill motives by the police department, provide the Baltimore Police Department the opportunity to measure the progress of the department's growth through policies, training, and reformed operations directly from the mouths of those that are most affected, and evaluate the direct impact of the department upon the community as it pertains to homicides and non-fatal shootings and the services that the Victim Services Unit provides. In conclusion, although the Baltimore Police Department has made great strides to answering the needs of the community and made great strides into reforming to best serve the Baltimore community, there is still a long way to go. The most efficient way to learn if all of the needs of the community are being met is to institute the survey, similar to that of the best practices of Baltimore Police Department's Sex Offense Unit. For victims of non-fatal shootings and homicides, this would amplify their voices, provide a measure of evaluation for the Baltimore Police Department into their reform, their training, protocols, and practices, highlight room for improvement regarding the handling of these crimes, and answer over half of the recommended solutions of the National PSP report. Here's my works cited, and I would really like to thank all of you for listening to my presentation. Thank you all for the opportunity, and I would like to extend a thank you to Dr. Danielle Fenimore for your help. Thank you.